Okay, guys. So let's start the class. Uh, Yesterday, what we have seen. Yesterday, we done very basic things. We first of all took the introduction of everyone, understood in which particular background everybody is working. So what I have understood from overall background check is people are mostly in this particular batch are from the SQL background. All of the people know SQL. Few of them knows Python as well. So I consider everybody knows SQL in the end, right? And I will try to focus or try to give examples of Python more, right? And second thing which I notice is mostly the people who are here are basically looking for a job change. Few are here for a skill enhancement in their current job only, right? And few of them are already aware about cloud general, working on data factory, those things, right? That we have understood because so that I can teach accordingly. And then we understood about uh, what is subscription, how to get a subscription, in which particular environment we will must work mostly. I also told about how to get a Azure subscription, how to make a community edition account. Then we understood what is resource group, what is subscription, right? That we have understood. We haven't touched upon what is cloud in general, right? And why Databricks. So these are the topics we will cover today. Okay, what are the topics we will cover today? We will basically cover what is cloud, uh, what is the difference between a data lake Gen 2 and a blob storage, which is very important interview question, and what is storage account. Why Databricks, what are the Spark features are there, how to read write data in Databricks, that is what we will cover today. Okay. Now, if you have any question with respect to what we have covered yesterday, please let me know or else we'll move forward. Do you have any questions, guys?
No, Abhishek.
Okay. And how many of you have made a community edition account? Anybody tried to make it?
Yes, Abhishek. Abhishek, I have a question on resource group and these managed groups. How they are interlinked, like in real world. Like for example, if we create them separately, how they are interlinked.
Like how resource group and what is interlinked?
Like for example, like we have active directory and those kind of things, right? Like we can create a group like in normal premises scenarios. So in the cloud infrastructure, when we go for, so we have to specifically create these resource group and then manage groups. And how
How yeah, one second, I will just rephrase your question. So you
yeah,
are saying how resource group
like
and
yeah,
what is interlinked? Can you please tell me so
like
that
these
I can
resource group resources and then managed groups are interlinked.
resources and managed group you're saying, right? Managed group.
Yeah,
Management group you mean, so right?
yeah,
Management
management
group.
group.
Management group. Okay. So how this is interlinked, right? This is what you are asking.
Right,
And
right, Abhishek.
any other question, guys? Anybody other question beside this? Okay, fine. So what, first of all, what we will do in a real-time world is you will not never work in the management group, right? That you will not do. Management group is comes top in the hierarchy. In real-time world, I never touched or worked on management group, right? I never opened with window in 7 years, right? So you will probably not work in the management group because it's a most topmost hierarchy, right? So basically the people who are from the infra guys or who look into multiple subscription may basically open the management group. Now after that it comes subscription. Okay, after that it comes subscription. So basically we can go to the Azure, get a subscription, right? And then after subscription, and then subscription you can basically divide, right? So subscription, how to divide the subscription? Subscription can be divided in the multiple ways, right? So first, subscription can be project wise divided. Project wise divided. So suppose you are working in some sort of a consulting firm, TCS, right? So and they handle multiple project for different client or for a same client multiple project. So they can take uh, like for every project they can create a subscription, right? And then subscription can be also divided environment wise, right? So suppose environment wise also subscription can be divided to manage the cost. So suppose in my company we want to divide, like we have one particular data factory. So I am working in a product based company, and in product based company they have one particular subscription. Sorry, they have three subscription: development, test, and prod, and they want to divide the things based on environment: development environment subscription, test environment subscription, product environment subscription. That also can be done. Same with the resource group, right? So uh, not exactly same with the resource group. Resource group is always and always divided based on the environment. Okay, environment. So resource group always have a dev environment, test environment, prod environment, resource group. We never create one resource group for all the environment. That we never do, right? So in all the project in which I have worked, the resource group is always and always divided on the environment perspective, from dev environment, test environment, and prod environment. It always divided in a dev environment perspective. Okay. So this is how we divide a subscription, then resource group. So suppose here, if I go to the resource group, I have this resource group, right? So if I open this resource group, generally suppose I will create three resource group: for dev, for test, and for prod. And I will deploy all the resources of development in dev resource group, then test resource group, then prod resource group, right? This is how I will divide it. So yeah, so management group, subscription, and then resource group, and then you create resources underneath a resource group, right? So suppose if I open any of the resource, so this is the resource which we will learn today. So if I open this resource group, okay, so if I open this resource group, I have this subscription, right? This subscription ID, right? So this is tagged under this particular resource group. So under this subscription and under this resource group, this resource has been created. So this is about the subscription resource group. Now, beside this, we have a Microsoft Entra ID. If I open this Microsoft Entra ID, now what is this? Let me give you a background of this so that you totally get it, because I am switching the environment here and there, right? So what is this Microsoft Entra ID? Let's understand that. And let me open the paint. So suppose I am Microsoft is a company, right? Microsoft here. Now, suppose Kapil came to Microsoft and said that, hey, this is my email ID, Kapil dot b b@b gmail.com. This is my email ID. And I want to register with Microsoft. Okay. So what Microsoft will do first thing, what Microsoft will do first thing as it will assign a Kapil a tenant, and it will treat Kapil as an organization. Okay. And to do this, Kapil doesn't need a subscription. Okay. So once Kapil came to Microsoft, register his email ID, he has a tenant as soon as he does that, right? So, and Kapil doesn't needs to buy a subscription for that, right? So once he comes here and then come and just like register for the email ID and log in with the email ID, he automatically have a tenant, right? So suppose the people who haven't made a Azure account can come here and don't purchase a subscription, just log in, right? And once you log in, you can go to Microsoft Entra ID without getting the subscription. You can directly open the Microsoft Entra ID. You will see that you already have a tenant. Okay, you already have a tenant. Now, suppose now Kapil said that, hey, Abhishek, let's do one thing. Okay, what we will do, we both will work together in Azure. Okay, you teach me and I will learn from you. Okay, so Kapil said that, yeah, you become part of my organization, you are my tutor. Okay, so what Kapil will do, Kapil will add me as a user in his tenant. Okay, without buying a subscription, he can do that. So what Kapil can do, Kapil can make me a user of his tenant. Okay, so if I go to user, hello, am I audible, guys, to everyone?
Yes, Abhishek.
Okay.
This is good.
So yeah, so here what he needs to do, he needs to add me as a user. So first get a subscription, make a tenant, and then suppose here this particular email ID, this email ID, this email ID, these are user of my tenant. Okay, they can ideally work with me. Now similarly, Kapil can add me as well. He can just invite me as external user in this tenant. He can add suppose Abhishek dot Agrawal @gmail.com. He can invite me. Okay. And once he invites me, I will get an invitation. What kind of invitation I will get? This is how I will get it. And this I am not showing you. You can easily try it. And then if you're not able to do it, you can let me know. But it's very easy. So you will get this kind of a invitation. Currently, I'm doing as an external user, but suppose in company, if you join a company, they will invite you as an internal user. Okay. Yeah, so you will get this kind of invitation. Yeah, this kind of invitation you will get, and you need to accept the invitation. Once a particular person accept the invitation, he will be part of Teanant. Okay. Now what Kapil can do, probably Kapil, this is a second step, right? Suppose we both wants to work together, then Kapil can go buy a subscription, do everything, right? And still I won't be able to work with Kapil, right? What Kapil needs to do, Kapil needs to go to the subscription and then add me as a part of a subscription so that I can work with him, right? So here he can go and then he can add me to the subscription after that. And ideally, in the real company, you will never do all of this, right? Because this is not a data engineer job. This is again, as I told you in the previous class. Probably I haven't told you this in the previous class, but I will tell you today. So this is not a part of a data engineer, right? It is a part of a Azure admin, right? So he will handle all of this. So here you can go give him a role. Here you can add him the role, like give him this particular whatever role you contributor or a owner or whatever role you basically wants to give him. You can give him this role. You can select the member, and this will not come until unless you add him and make him a part of subscription, right? Here you can select him, and then after that he will be able to see the subscription. So add this user, this user, and then so second step is assign him the subscription, and then this user needs to log in to the new tenant after that. So this user basically needs to log into new tenant. Suppose Kapil given him all the subscription and everything, right? So now Abhishek needs to go to his tenant, right? So here so he will go to manage tenant and he will be able to see the Kapil's tenant once he is a part of his tenant, right? Suppose Kapil added me a user, assigned me a subscription, I accepted the invitation as well. Then I will see Kapil over here, right? And I need to just select over here and then switch. Then I will go to his tenant instead of my tenant. Are you able to understand, guys, or it's
Yes,
confusing?
yes, Abhishek.
Okay. So yeah, so it is very simple. So Kapil will log in his account, add me as a user in his tenant, and then he will give me a subscription. Then what I need to do, I need to log in as a using my email ID, not Kapil's email ID. I need to log in with my email ID. I need to come over here and I need to switch the tenant so that I can go to the Kapil subscription. Now, if I say that I don't want to teach Kapil now because his syllabus is ended, right? Now I want to work with someone else. So as you can see, I am working with so many people because I can work with anyone. I can just say, go to Kaushal, go to Rahul, go to Kanika, go to some vacuum, some fancy name, Pragati. I can go to anyone. All of these guys are my students, right? I can work with anyone. So as a part of homework, what you guys can do, you can just add me as a user of your tenant, right? And then probably I can work with you. I can, if you have some sort of a problem that Abhishek, this is not working, can you see that particular code? I can ideally see that code without you sharing that code with me personally, right? You can just add me as a user and I can go to your subscription and check it, right? That I can do. So the homework for you guys is add me a part of your subscription and a tenant. If you feel that I will not do like, yeah, so you can just add me as a yield reader or a contributor, right? And I just to look into it, and from that we can, you can also see that whether you can add me as a user, and you know you have full knowledge about it, right? So this, but you will never and ever work on this, right? So you will not never work on this. So this is about tenant, subscription, resource group, all of that, right? Now it's very important that you guys also understand what you need to learn, because when you start working in Azure, you are probably there are so many things you might get confused. Okay, what to learn and what not to learn right now, because you are in the initial phase. Okay, so as a data engineer, you will be responsible of ETL, extract, transform, and load. Okay, what does it mean? What does it mean? You will basically extract the data from multiple source system. Okay, so you will extract the data from multiple source system. Multiple source system can be anything, right? So I will just open this architecture. Give me a moment. So from the multiple source system, you need to fetch the data, load it to the data lake. And here you will do the processing. Extract means extraction of the data. Transformation means data processing. For that only we are learning Databricks, right? To transformation, extract, transform, and load. Extract, transform, and load to a SQL Server, load to a Power BI, anything can like that, right? So here you will be responsible for extract the data from any sort of a source system, right? From any source system. Then transform the data by using SQL or by using PySpark or by using Spark SQL, right? Transformation of the data. And it can be there in the Databricks or SQL or anywhere else, right? So, and then you will load the data to a server or some sort of a dashboarding or a reporting, right? So here you will do the reporting. So this is what you will do, right? And then your job can be making a pipeline in ADF, making the pipeline in Databricks. Your job can be doing the data quality checks in the your data, checking the null values, adding a new column, removing a new column, right? And then suppose a data scientist told that I need real estate data to improve my model. So go to the source system, get that data, make it proper so that they can use it for the analysis. Those kind of a job you will do. Okay, and that you should focus on right now. Okay, right now, but you shouldn't focus on these things. Okay, what you shouldn't focus on as your admin part. What does it mean? You will not focus on resource creation, first of all. Resource creation, role assignment, security as in securing the whole infrastructure. You will be anyways concerned about your own development, security, and all of that, right? Networking. Okay, and resource creation, role assignment, security, networking, designing the architecture. So you shouldn't be worrying about all of this right now, because currently we are in the learning phase, right? So you are just starting right now. So sometimes whenever I create a resource, you are concerned and you will also say that, Abhishek, what I need to select in the security, what I need to select in the networking, what roles I should assign, and all of that, right? Basically, going forward, you can focus on these things, okay? But for now, don't much focus on these things. Reason being, your main agenda right now is to, and also, yeah, so you will don't focus on all of this right now. Just focus on ETL, extract, transform, and load. How to extract data, how to transform data, and how to do the processing in a better manner, right? But this is the part of a Azure admin. And also, you won't be working on Azure DevOps stuff, which means you will not basically create a CI/CD pipeline. In some company, yeah, so they say that yeah, data engineer only create a CI/CD pipeline, but don't focus on this right now, right? You will definitely focus on the Git integration, how to do the Git push, Git pull, how to do the cherry pick, how to the revert the code, how to resolve the merge conflict, all of them, all of that you need to focus on because that is your area of interest. But your area of interest shouldn't be taking the whole code from the dev environment, pushing the code to the prod environment. Um, yeah, so that and deploying, taking the whole thing, deploying the things to the test environment or a prod environment, current focus shouldn't be that, right? So this also you will not do Azure admin or Azure DevOps stuff, right? And all of these things which I have explained, which is subscription, resource group, uh, and then Microsoft Entra ID, assigning the role, all of that I have never done. I just learned it by teaching, right? So, but and also I haven't created any of the resource till now in any of the company. You will get all sort of a development environment already set up for you. You will go and do the development directly. Okay, guys. So we have learned about the subscription resource group, Microsoft Intra ID, and also we have seen how to add a user in the subscription, right? And also we have seen what will be your role, right? That we have seen. Now let's create a first resource, right? Which is in the resource group, which is storage account. Okay, I'm opening this. Now, what is storage account? A storage account has basically four types. Yeah, first of all, let me go through this slide as well. So we already went through why cloud is important. I'm not going through this because probably you know it already, but how I understand it, I don't like how I understand it because why cloud is important for me, why I don't uh, maintain my data in CD and pen drive. Reason being, if I want to share with any of the person who is there in US or any of my friends who's there in Bangalore, for example, right? I need the collaboration is very easy. I need to like if I upload the photos in the Google Drive or anything, right? It's easy to share. Maintenance is very easy. Suppose if I maintain the data in my hard disk, right? It's basically difficult to maintain because I feel that it will be corrupted. So I maintain all of my data in the cloud. Upgrade is very easy, right? So if you update the data in the cloud, you can just purchase the cloud storage very easily. So upgrade is very easy, easy to collaborate. Everything will be handled by the cloud provider. That is why cloud is important as compared to on-premise. That is why not only individual, every company is also moving the data to the cloud, right? Now, cloud computing has two model, deployment model and service model. In deployment model, we have three kinds of a cloud: public cloud, private cloud, hybrid cloud. Service model, we have IaaS, SaaS, and PaaS. In deployment model, we have public cloud, private cloud, hybrid cloud. How do you differentiate between all of these cloud? Uh, so suppose Microsoft has a data center everywhere, right? All across the world, Microsoft has a data center. Now, one of the company reach out to Microsoft that they want a cloud solution. Suppose TCS came to Microsoft, they want a cloud solution, right? For example, Then what Microsoft will do, they have a data center all across the world, right? So they will basically uh, assign their data, like assign. So TCS, Microsoft will allocate the resource to my TCS, and their resources can be deployed in these data centers, right? This is a public cloud. Public cloud. And if any like suppose if the second company reach out to Microsoft, which is suppose Walmart, their resources will be also deployed in these data centers, right? In this data center somewhere. Now, suppose SDFC reach out to Microsoft, right? And they said that we don't want to use the data centers given by you guys, and we have a highly confidential data, and we have our own data centers. And please, but we want a cloud service. Reason being, we want to collaborate, we want to share our data very easily, we want to develop together, and all of those features we want. But whatever features you guys are giving, we want all of those features, but we want to use our own data center, right? So what Microsoft will do? Microsoft will go to their premise and set up a private cloud for them. This is a private cloud. And what is hybrid cloud? Hybrid cloud is nothing but mix of both. Okay. Most of the company uses a hybrid cloud setup. Reason being, they have few of the my Entra ID and they have few of the services already there in the private cloud, which they integrate. So and few of the services they opt it in the public cloud, right? So they will do the hybrid cloud setup in that case. So most of the company do the hybrid cloud setup, right? So they have few of the services in the public cloud and all other services in the few of the services in the private cloud and all other services in the public cloud. So this is about private, public, and hybrid cloud. This is just for the knowledge, right? Nobody will ask you in which particular cloud you are working, and this question will not come in the interview or anything of that sort, but just for the understanding. Then what is IaaS, SaaS, and PaaS? In very, very simple terms, how you can understand it is, IaaS is you're just getting a machine, not more than that, just machine, just virtual machine. That is the IaaS. What is PaaS? If you are going and developing something there, right? That is PaaS. Now, what is SaaS? SaaS is already pre-built software. If you get, that is SaaS, right? Software as a service. IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS, right? Okay, all right. This we have already covered. This is not needed. Now I'm opening the storage account. Yeah, so storage account has 4 types. Date, and this is very, very simple to understand, also very commonly asked in the interviews, so please pay attention. What is storage account? Storage account is nothing but a particular resource given by Microsoft in which you can store any kind of a data, video file, audio file, JSON, CSV, any kind of a file can be stored in the storage account. It has 4 types. Either you can choose to create a data lake storage or a blob storage. Then file service, queue service, and table service, right? Now, what is file service? It is being used to share large file. Queue service is to handle messages. Table service is to handle NoSQL database. I haven't worked in either in the file service, queue service, and table service because it is very less used. And during our all the classes, we will be focused only in the data lake storage. We will not use a blob storage as well because we are working in Databricks. So we will focus only and only on this. But storage account has 4 types: data lake storage, file service, queue service, and table service. You can choose to create a data lake storage or a blob storage. Both, either of them you can choose, right? So if I go to the blob service, let me show you how it looks. So if I open this blob service, this is blob service, right? That is data lake storage. I will tell you the difference between both data lake storage and blob service, and like how it looks, right? So if I open a data lake blob service, now here you can see that I don't have any button over here to create a subfolder. Okay. Now if I go to the data lake storage, and if I open this, I do have a button over here to create a directory, right? I am getting a button over here to create a directory. So this is the first difference, right? In data lake storage, you can create a directory, which means you can create a subfolder, right? Why we are calling it as a directory? Because this is how it has been called in Azure terms. We call folder as a container, subfolder as a directory. Okay, so this is a directory. This is a directory. So in data lake storage, you can create a directory inside a container, which means you can create a subfolder inside a folder. Okay, this is the first difference. Now the second difference is, if I open this, now if I click over here, I am getting this option, right? Either you can generate the SAS token key to mount this particular data lake storage only, which means you can ideally mount only this container, only this directory to your um to your Databricks, and also you can manage ACL. Suppose Kapil and me are working together, and Kapil said that, hey Abhishek, this is what I do have, like some confidential data over here which I want you to help me, but I don't want to show other files to you, right? So he can probably give this permission, this folder access only to me, right? That can be done. So the folder level access can be managed in the data lake storage, which cannot be done in the blob storage. In the blob storage, you can ideally create a folder that can be done, a dummy folder, but it won't be. Yeah, so if I open a blob storage, here you can create a dummy folder from the pipeline or from the Databricks, that can be done, but you won't be able to manage the ACL over there, right? So this is the first difference, is you can create a directory inside a container. The second difference is you can manage ACL in data lake storage, which you cannot do in the blob storage. The third difference is the blob storage is a older solution, okay, and data lake Gen 2 is the new solution and a futuristic solution. Data lake Gen 2 is recommended for big data analytics workload. Reason being, like here you can basically segregate your data in a better way. That is why it is been recommended. Okay, when to use a blob storage in a real-time scenario? Suppose if you have a very rigid requirement that you have 100 file or 15 files, and then you want to develop a POC with respect to that, and then you will do the future development with many files in the data lake Gen 2, right? Then you can use a blob storage, or you can use blob storage for a CSV dump if you have very rigid requirement. But in general, you use a data lake Gen 2 only, you don't use a blob storage. It's very important interview question. What is the difference between a blob storage and a data lake storage, data lake Gen 2 storage, right? And then going forward, they elongate it as well. What is the difference between a data lake, delta lake, or delta table, right? So those things we will learn going forward. But and also they can ask the question like this: what is the difference between a blob storage, data lake storage, delta lake, delta table, delta load? Just to confuse you, okay? So we will understand it all of these terms as well going forward, but this you need to understand for now. Blob storage, what is the difference between a blob storage and data lake storage? So there are three differences. In data lake storage, you can create a directory inside a container, which you cannot do in the blob storage. So remember directory and container, don't say subfolder and folder. Then you can manage ACL, which is access control list in the data lake storage, which you cannot do in the blob storage. Now the third difference is data lake Gen 2 is a futuristic solution. It is recommended for big data analytics workload. And blob storage is an older solution, bit more cheaper than the data lake storage, right? Now, if you have any question with respect to whatever I have covered till now, public cloud, private cloud, hybrid cloud, IaaS, PaaS, what is the role of data engineer, what is Active Directory, and yeah, whatever I have covered till now, you can ask me now, or else we'll move forward.
So, this is Venkat,
Yes, fine.
Abhishek. So, you're saying the container and directory, right? Container will have all the different directories, correct?
Yes, yes, you're correct.
Okay. Then, so in data lake versus blob, both will have containers
Both will
and
have
both will have
containers.
directories.
Both will have container, data lake storage and a blob storage. Both will have containers. And data lake storage only will have a directory. Blob storage won't have a directory. You can create a dummy subfolder in a blob storage, but you won't be able to give the permission on a subfolder level. So suppose me and you are working together, then dummy folder can be created inside a container. So suppose here dummy folder can be created, means files can be segregated, but the files, the folder subfolder level accesses cannot be given.
So that means there is no concept in directory in blob, what we are saying.
Yeah. So here, like I can show you, here you can create a subfolder from data factory or like, yeah. So here you can create a subfolder, but here once you click, you won't get any option to like which you get over there in the data lake storage to manage ACL, SAS token, keep those things you won't be able to do in blob storage. So it is not ideally a directory, it's like a dummy folder which you can create to segregate your files.
It looks like a folder, but it's not a really directory.
Yeah. It's not really a directory.
That is important differentiation between the two, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So out of all the 4 different storages, you are saying only the data lake storage have the directory and access control list, all that other things.
Yes. Yeah.
Compared to table storage and queue storage even, not just the blob.
Yes.
Nobody has a directory structure. Level control.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Abhishek, what is the practical level use of blob storage then? Because in day-to-day scenarios, for example, we keep the files in different folders and then we give ACLs to different users on specific folders, right? So what is the actual use case for blob storage? Why do we need
In
that?
my company, why we are using it? Because in my company, suppose we have all the data sources which we fetch from legacy system. So we handle a data migration project, right? But
Right.
sometimes in our company we have suppose flat files. So these flat files we get from different business because suppose we work in retail stores, right? So every region maintains some sort of a flat file, and they don't these customers don't have enough knowledge to maintain these files in some sort of a source system, like they don't have a technical expertise. So what they do generally, they send us those flat file through an email. Now these flat files are limited, so we have 50 flat file or 100 flat file. These flat files are limited. Now what we do, we create a blob storage because these files are very limited, right? So we have like 50, 100 is flat file, and then we don't want a data lake storage, a better segregation, better management, because these are the flat file. Ideally, sooner or later, that will be moved to some sort of a storage system. So we use blob storage for that. That is what we use. Now the second example is also for a limited scenario. Suppose I, as a I came to you that, hey Kapil, I want a particular, I want to deploy, I want you to work on a development project, and currently, can you help me to make a POC in which I do have like suppose 20 sample files, and then like 20 sample files are located in some sort of a source. So let's build a POC, right? So for that, you have a fixed requirement. You want the POC to be developed, then you can create a blob story. You don't need a data lake Gen 2 for that. So previously, people are using a blob storage. So many of the projects are there in which they are doing a migration from a blob storage to data lake Gen 2. But as of now, as of today, if they are using a blob storage, then they have a very rigid requirement, or very rigid, just I told you, some flat file, some sort of a POC. For that, they use a blob storage. But nobody implement their solution in a blob storage if they want a futuristic solution, because that is a older version of a storage.
Okay,
Because
okay.
everybody wants to have a better segregation, better ACL, better file level accesses, right? So everybody wants that. So nobody implements their solution in the blob storage for now.
And on the cost side, for example, blob storage, I assume, would be cheaper than
Yes,
Gen 2.
yes,
Okay,
it
so
would be
I think
cheaper.
that's why you basically took
Yeah,
blob storage for the
yeah,
migration project. Okay, okay.
yeah.
Thanks, Abhishek. Yeah.
Okay.
What about
Hi, Abhishek.
table and queue? Abhishek, what is the other two different storages? Do we normally use for any specific things or?
So as of now, I haven't worked on the neither a queue storage, file server, or like other form of a storage. I haven't worked on it. I always worked on a data lake storage and a blob storage. From the definition perspective, I can just tell you about it, but like I haven't used it, and probably you guys will also not use the other form of a storage, because mostly we will use data lake storage and a blob storage only for all of the projects.
Oh, okay. No, the queue storage is all about real time, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. What is the table?
Table storage is for, one sec. Yeah, it's a NoSQL storage for, yeah, so it's a NoSQL storage.
Okay. You want to share this document with us?
Yeah, it's already, as I told you guys that the link which I have shared with you yesterday, in that particular link, you will find everything. Let me show you.
Okay.
So this is the folder which I have shared with you guys.
Secondly, I did have a question.
This is a folder which I have shared with you guys. Here, if you open slides, yeah, so you have this the slide which I am showing you right now, and also you have one more slide. And then I also uploaded few more slides which I will going forward use. So in this folder, you will find everything. And probably you guys already, and also as I told, the naming convention document is there. And the recording link also you can get, sample file, everything is there in this folder as well. So check it out and star mark this particular link which I've shared with you.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, guys. So yeah, somebody asking something, I guess. Nivya, you were
Yeah,
asking something, right? Yeah.
yeah. So, for blob storage, we can have multiple containers within the same storage account, right?
Yes, you can have multiple containers within the same storage account, but you won't be able to create directory.
Okay. So, can we like when we are defining this ADLS, like is it at the storage account level or at the container level?
Sorry, I
So what
didn't
I meant to
understand.
ask is like within a storage account, we have two containers, and can we keep one container as the ADLS and another one as blob?
No, sorry. I guess you misunderstood it. So in storage account, it has four types. Data lake storage, either you can choose to create either one of them, Then you have a file service, queue service, table service, right? So let's leave these three: file service, queue service, and table service. Now,
Okay.
either you choose to create a data lake storage or you choose to create a blob storage. You have an option, which one you opt for, right? Now, if
Okay.
you see here, I opted for data lake storage. Now, similarly, here I opted for a blob storage. Now I will also show you how you can opt for these two kinds of a storage that I will show you. So here, either you can choose to create a data lake storage or you can choose to create a blob storage.
Okay. So that is at the storage account level, right?
Yeah, that is at the storage account level. Yes, you're right.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other question, guys? Okay. Now, how to create a data lake storage or how to create a blob storage? So first of all, I am going and creating a storage account. Now here you can select your subscription, your resource group, as I told that whenever you create a resource, you need to select your subscription, you need to select your resource group, right? And then you give your storage account name. So suppose if you're creating a blob, you can give blob, or you can give, suppose, like, and then select region, right? And everything is by default. I'm not changing anything. Now here in the second tab, when you go, if you select this, right, it will create a data lake Gen 2. If you don't select it, it will create a blob storage. Let's read it. Hierarchical namespace, which means like directory container kind of a namespace, complemented by data lake Gen 2 endpoint, enables file and directory semantics, means the directory level accesses can be managed, accelerates big data analytics workload, enable ACL, right? So all of this we have already covered. If you select this, it will create a data lake Gen 2 for you. If you don't select it, it will create a blob storage for you. As simple as that, right? If you select this, it will create a data lake Gen 2. If you don't select this, it will create a blob storage for you. Now, if I select this, if I move forward, you just need to hit review and create. Now you will never ever create a, like, suppose generally only in one company in which I am working on a particular startup, I created a storage account as well there. But it's not a data engineer job is to create a storage account. Okay, so ideally, sometimes don't be worried about what to select here, what to select here, what to select here. You won't be doing that. Okay, but right now we should know the important option as from the data engineer perspective while we are practicing, right? You should know which what to click, right? That's all you should be worried about. And then hit create after that. So if you just create it, it will initialize the deployment, it will deploy, and then you can see your storage account after that.
Abhishek, one question here.
Hmm.
Do they have also like a subscription like for a storage account without pay as you go, but the standard, like, we can take like maybe 500 gigabytes or 1 terabyte of space at a time, and then like yearly basis, and we can utilize that. We can like uh, clean up the storage if we don't need files over there, and then or archive it like maybe somewhere in the local server.
So you are saying that
Subscription based, yeah, without pay as you go subscription for storage.
so you need to get a subscription, then you can create only storage account, and then you can use the storage account as per your usage that you can do. Yeah, so that is what you can do. You can come and then buy a subscription, then you can use your only storage account, and then you pay only how much you use it. That can be done.
Okay, so
So if you want,
basically within the same tenant, I can have different subscription, and one
yeah,
subscription can be pay as you go for like these kind of things, and I can have a standard subscription which I
yeah,
can use to create a different storage. Okay,
yes, yes, and
and
also if you want, you can create one. So suppose if you come to Azure and then you made one tenant, so which is suppose your like development tenant, and one can be personal tenant, so you can create two tenant as well if you want to. So suppose here I can
okay.
ideally create a new organization as well. So as Abhishek, I can create as many organization I want. That also
Ah,
can be done.
okay. That's good to know. Like within
Yeah.
the same account, like company wise, we can have different
So
tenants.
suppose if I go over here, if I want to create a new managed tenant, if I want to create a tenant, that also can be done. And under that tenant, I can get a subscription. That also I can do. So I can open my many organization. So I can just hit create over here, and then I can create new tenant as well.
Okay.
And then
But
in that tenant you can add a user, and then that user can just suppose a Kapil has two organization A, organization B. In one organization, suppose he worked with me as a learning purpose. Now he can create a second organization in which he can just do some sort of a development. That also you can segregate. Yeah, somebody
Okay.
is asking something, I guess.
no, I mean, if you have, this is Venkat, if you
Yes,
have
Surendra.
multiple tenants
Mhm.
within one org, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Then how do that communication happens from one tenant to other tenant if you have to? Let's say I have to access some storage or something from this tenant to that tenant.
Mhm.
All the resources, right?
Yeah. So suppose generally we work in under same tenant. We don't. I never worked in different tenants, but there is an option.
Yeah.
You can do that. Now, if you want to anyways communicate, suppose if you want to move the data from one tenant to another tenant and all of that, that can be done by like, yeah. So there is always a communication option which you can opt for, but generally that doesn't happen. So I haven't worked like in multiple tenant. I never done that.
Got it.
Neither I worked in multiple subscription that I have done. I worked in multiple resource group, but I never worked on the tenant level. I never worked on the like management group and all of that. This is just for the information, guys. But don't
Right. Now, for
yeah.
multiple subscription also, in that case, is there a
Mhm.
way to do easier transformation? I mean,
Uh,
access
Yeah,
from,
so you can do that. So suppose ideally from Databricks, you can reach, so you need a credential of your storage account, then you can basically communicate with the storage account or a data factory by providing those credentials that can be connected. So you won't face the issue with respect to that. So that can be done.
so from one subscription to another subscription, you can access.
Yeah, you can access. Yes.
Oh, okay.
And also like from the tenant level, you need the credentials uh, for that particular resource, and that can be connected as well. So that's not a problem. Here and there few integration issue will come probably when you are, suppose you made 100 user in a tenant. Now few user you want to make the part of other tenant as well, then you need to go to other tenant as add those users. That you need to do the intra id things you need to manage, but communication between resources you can anyways manage.
Mhm. Okay.
Okay, guys. So data lake gen 2 blob storage tenant, what is cloud? Yeah, so what I will do, I will just try to cover this why Databricks and Spark features, and read write data probably we'll see tomorrow, because anyways we are a bit late now. Now what we will do, why data is important, probably you guys already know about it because I have covered this in the demo, but I will again tell if somebody haven't attended the demo. Why Databricks is important, because Databricks is basically built on Spark. Okay, and now like let me open. And this slide is also there in your drive, so don't worry about it. Okay, so in Databricks is basically built on Spark, and Spark is basically a very library rich to handle Spark streaming, to handle like data engineer. So using Spark, you can basically learn ML algorithms as well. You can do Spark streaming as well. You can do the data warehousing as well. You can make a lakehouse architecture as well. Then you can do ETL as well using Spark. So Databricks is basically a one-stop solution for everything. Now, you can again say that, Abhishek, why Databricks? Because ideally, if I want to run Spark, I can run in my local as well. In my local computer, I can use like suppose like Synapse space as well. There are many engine in which you can run a Spark. Why Databricks only, right? Because not only like Spark you can run in many places, but it gives you multiple other features for the data processing and for the data maintenance. Just like in Databricks, you have a Unity catalog feature, right? You can create a Unity catalog, and you can easily implement a lakehouse architecture. Then it also gives you the delta live features, right? So to manage a streaming task, right? And so with Spark, it gives you other features, other UI benefit, other many features, right? Which basically makes a Databricks which is built on Spark, which is very library rich, to do all sort of a thing in one place. It is a one-stop solution for ideally everything, right? So as I told, you can do data warehousing, you can do data engineering, you can do Spark streaming, you can do data science and ML algorithm as well. And the other feature, which is Unity catalog, delta live table, many other features it gives you, which makes a Databricks a powerful tool, right? And that is why every cloud, which is a data Azure cloud, we have Azure cloud, Azure Databricks, we have GCP Databricks, we have a Amazon Databricks as well, right? And then it gives you the lakehouse architecture. What it means that we have a data lake, right? So I'm just we will learn lakehouse in very detailed manner going forward. But what is lakehouse? Like suppose you have data lake over here, right? So if I go over here, you have data lake, which we just seen, right? That is data lake, in which you can basically store all kind of a data, audio file, video file, structure, like any kind of a data you can store in data lake. What is the downside of it? What is the limitation? Suppose if you can store any kind of a data, suppose if I just dump department.csv file, and that has two column, department ID and then department name, right? Only two column. Now in data lake, you can ideally, if I just change the data type of department ID, I make department ID as suppose A, for example, right? Then also it will not give you error, because data lake is data lake, right? You cannot maintain the schema. But in data warehouse, you can ideally do that, right? In data warehouse, you can basically say that department ID is integer, right? That we can say in warehouse. So the downside of a data lake is the schema and everything cannot be maintained in data lake, right? And also the row level, column level security, all of those things you cannot do in data lake. But in data warehouse, you can ideally do all of those things, right? But the downside of data warehouse is you can only store structured data, right? That only you can do. But in lake house, it basically you can do both of the things. You can basically store any kind of a data, and at the same time you can basically preserve your schema. So that is what the lake house is. Lake house is already always and always built on top of your existing storage system. So we will build a lake house on top of a storage account itself, right? So that is a feature ideally, right? So that is what makes a Databricks a very powerful tool, right? All right. Now, Spark feature. Okay. Let me open this. So if you see, the Apache Spark is open source unified engine for large scale data processing. Spark provides interface programming cluster for implicit data parallelism and fault tolerance. Data parallelism means it basically divides your data in a distributed manner and then process data, right? And then you have Python, Scala, Java, R available in Scala, Java, Python, Java, like all of this language, right? What does it mean? If you know SQL, you can directly come to Apache, like the Databricks engine, and you can write SQL code, right? That can be done directly without learning Spark SQL. What does it mean? Whenever you write a SQL, it calls a Spark API by default, okay? And if you know Python, you can directly come here and write PySpark, not Python, okay? Plain Python. If you come to Databricks environment, which I will show you now, like going forward, if you come to the Databricks environment and if you write Python, which is very common mistake which developers do. So sometimes people come here and then they are a Python developer. They come to Databricks, they start writing Python, pandas, data frame and all of that. It is very like, if you do that, then you are not using Spark capability if you do that, right? So we will never write Python, okay? We will write Python whenever it's required for any sort of a visualization, matplotlib or any kind of a machine learning library which we are using, which is not available in Spark, right? So whenever we will write the code in Databricks, we will write PySpark, which means we will call a Spark API. I will show you that how it can be done and all of those things we'll learn. But the Python we will not write. Pandas is strict no in Databricks environment, right? But you can write SQL directly. SQL Databricks considers a Spark SQL and then Spark API only we call it, right? So if you see this, batch processing, stream processing, SQL analytics, machine learning, it's a basically it has a many feature. Then it supports many languages. Yeah, so it supports all of this, right? So that makes us Spark as well a powerful engine. It is built on the Spark itself. Now on Monday when we connect, we will learn more detail about Spark, why Spark is needed, what is the Spark architecture and all of that. But in the start, don't totally like in the start, this understanding Spark architecture, understanding how Spark works, right? So on Monday, when I teach about it, you will get it, but you will not get it totally because it takes time to understand the Spark architecture because it's not so easy. But we will learn about it in the start in a very layman terms. We'll learn about it. And then going forward, yeah, so Monday, this is what we will learn. We will start on Databricks. Today, the time went into the Teanant and learning other things, the foundation stuff. But in the today's class, all in all, what is most important topic is it's very easy. Like, so if I just try to summarize it in the whole class today, it's very important that you understand what is the difference between a data lake storage and blob storage. Very commonly asked interview question. Nobody will ask you in the interview what is the difference between a public cloud, private cloud, hybrid cloud. It's not been asked. Though in the certification exam, if you go for DP203, it might be asked. But in the interview, nobody asked that. Now, what is the difference between a data lake storage and a blob storage? What is the difference between delta lake? What is a feature of lake house, right? So, which I just now explained, why lake house is important, but we will learn about it going forward as well. So these topics are more important. Nobody will ask you what is Entra ID, tenant, and then how tenant can be managed, and it's not important for a data engineer, right? So don't focus too much on this, just focus on this particular question. But if you want to know just for the knowledge perspective, it's okay. So what we will do now, let's connect again on Monday. And I have a request, few people reach out to me to delay the class for half an hour. So I want to ask to the whole group, if you guys are okay if we start at 8 p.m. IST, half an hour late. But I want you guys to join on time, because suppose we are suppose people are joining 10-15 minutes late, then it delays the class as well to that particular extent, right? So let me know if you guys are if anybody has a problem to if we start half an hour late, like going forward always. Somebody has a problem, so let's just speak up. Or if everybody is okay, then I will be silent for 2 minutes. If you have any problem, you can let me know.
I have a conflict in another meeting. Abhi.
Ram, is it you?
Yeah, it's me. I'm already in another meeting too, parallel.
Okay, so you have after half an hour you have another meeting, you're saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, and anybody else has a problem? Okay, I think nobody has a problem. Okay, fine, guys. So I will just discuss in the chat now. So see you then, guys. Thank you so much for joining the call. We will meet on Monday. For now, same time, but I will just update if the timing changes, right? So thank you so much for your time. See you then. Bye.
Thank you, Abhishek. So assignment is just to create the account, right,
Okay,
Abhishek?
yeah. So what I will do now, I will also write the assignment now, and also I will write in the homework. So the
Okay.
assignment is create a tenant and add me as a 1 second. Add me as a user of your subscription, and my email ID is this. Or if you feel so, you can also add yourself, right? So it's not like you need to add me. You just try with your own email ID or with your own different email ID. Then share the subscription with him. Then like the whosoever the email ID you are adding, right? And then if you want, you can make a new tenant, and switch, right? That also you can do. Then create blob storage and data lake gen 2. Then what you guys need to do, probably you have already created the subscription, then go through this particular URL, understand, go through it, just try to learn it, go through it once. Through it, and then learn about, just read about public private hybrid cloud. And IESS. Yeah, so this is what you guys can cover today, and then we'll meet on Monday. Okay. Okay, guys. So I will paste this homework in the drive as well. Just complete this, and then we'll meet on Monday. Then thank you so much for your time. Bye.
Thank you, Abhishek.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.